We have a particular kind of hero right now. You know the type. They speak about the future of humanity while building the infrastructure of the present. They post about saving the world between announcements that make a few people incomprehensibly richer. They believe, and this is the part that makes it complicated, they genuinely believe what they are saying. That sincerity is what makes this hard. It is easy to dismiss a hypocrite who knows they are lying. It is much harder to know what to do with someone who looks you in the eye, means every word, and still cannot close the distance between what they say and what they do. There is a story, 2,000 years old, about a man exactly like that. And the most unsettling thing about it is not how it ends. It is how it begins. The year is approximately 30 CE. The place is Roman-occupied Judea, a territory under the heel of an empire that has perfected the art of extracting wealth from the people it governs. Taxes flow upward. The temple in Jerusalem, which should be the beating heart of justice for the poor, has become instead a financial institution that serves the powerful. The gap between the wealthy and the destitute is not a gap. It is a chasm, and it is structural, and everyone knows it, and most people have made their peace with it. Into this world walks a man. Mark's gospel says he ran to Jesus. He didn't stroll, he ran. He knelt in the dust, and he asked the question that more people are asking than will ever admit it. What do I still lack? He is not asking cynically. He has kept every commandment since he was a child. Not some of them, all of them. He is the person your church would put on a poster. He is the person your family holds up as the example. He is genuinely, visibly, measurably good. And he knows somehow that it is not enough. And the knowing is eating him alive. Jesus looks at him. And here is the detail that most retellings skip over entirely. The text says Jesus loved him. This is not a trap. This is not a gotcha moment dressed up as compassion. Jesus sees this man fully, his goodness, his wealth, his hunger, his fear, and loves all of it. And then he says the one thing the man cannot do. Sell everything. Give it to the poor. Come, follow me. The man's face falls. Mark says he went away grieving, not angry, not dismissive, grieving. He knew the answer was right. He had run toward this conversation, and he could not take the last step. He walked away with everything he owned, and a sadness he would probably carry for the rest of his life. A few chapters later, in a different town, a different wealthy man climbs a tree like a child to catch a glimpse of Jesus passing by. His name is Zacchaeus. He is a tax collector, despised, collaborating with Rome, considered by his community to be beyond redemption. Jesus does not wait to be approached. He looks up into the tree and says, "Come down. I'm staying at your house tonight." Before the evening is over, Zacchaeus has given half his fortune to the poor and promised to repay fourfold everyone he has defrauded. Same encounter, different outcome. What was the difference? That question will sit with us for the rest of this video. Here is what Jesus would affirm. The drive to build something that did not exist before, to imagine a future and then spend your life making it real, is not a small thing. The ambition to connect people across distances, to accelerate human possibility, to ask what comes next. These impulses are not evil. They are, at their best, genuinely oriented toward something beyond the self. That deserves to be named honestly. The prophetic tradition has never been interested in tearing down what is genuinely good. It is only interested in asking whether the good stops where it becomes costly. Here is what Jesus would challenge. The world's richest man speaks often about the future of our species. The words are large: civilization, humanity, multiplanetary life. And underneath those words, invisible to the announcement, is a different world entirely. Her name is Amara. She is 26 years old. She works a 10-hour shift in a fulfillment warehouse, the kind of building you can see from the highway, the kind that doesn't have windows on the walls where the workers stand. Her wage, converted to the hours she gives, cannot buy the shoes her daughter needs before winter. Not won't. Cannot. At the end of her shift, she takes the long bus home. And she does one thing before she sleeps. She checks on her daughter, stands in the doorway for a moment, doesn't wake her, just checks. Amara is not a cost center. She is not a unit of labor productivity. She is the infrastructure. The gap between the announced values, saving humanity, building the future, and the living reality of the people who make that future physically possible. That gap is not an accident. It is a choice. And choices have names. That is what Jesus would look at, not the rocket. The doorway. We need to stop talking about the world's richest man now. Because here is the thing about the parable of the rich young man that every sermon about generosity carefully avoids. The disciples are standing there watching the whole thing. And when Jesus says it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God, they are astonished. Astonished. Because they assumed wealth was a sign of God's favor. They were wrong about that, and they had followed Jesus for months. So let's ask the question plainly. In this story, are you the rich young man, a disciple watching, or someone in the crowd hoping he gives? If you are the rich young man, your goodness is real. Nobody is taking that from you. The question is whether your goodness has a ceiling, a line past which you will not go because the cost is too high. Most of us have that line. Most of us just don't run toward the person who might show us where it is. And if you built what you built from inside a tradition that told you God rewards the faithful, the young man in this story also believed that. He was also right. And he still walked away. If you are a disciple, you have proximity to the right values. You talk about justice. You share the posts. You feel the weight of what's wrong. And you are still operating on the assumption that wealth is probably fine, that the system is probably fixable, that someone else will do the harder thing. If you are in the crowd, you are waiting for the wealthy to save you. You are betting your future on the generosity of people who have already answered the question of what their wealth is for, and chose to keep it. That is also a kind of faith. It is worth examining what it is faith in. Nobody in this parable gets a comfortable seat. Mark's gospel records the moment the man walks away in a single sentence. He went away grieving, for he had great possessions. The text does not say he was a bad man. It does not say he went to hell. It does not say Jesus stopped loving him. It says he went away grieving. That grief is the most honest thing in the story. It is the sound of a person who knows exactly what they are choosing, and chooses it anyway, and feels the full weight of what they are leaving behind. The question is not whether you feel that grief. The question is what you do when you do.